Okay, it's time. Okay, welcome to the Guthrie Public Schools Board of Education regular monthly meeting, Monday, August 8th, 2022. Call to order, please.
Gerard.
Here.
Schroeder.
Here.
Clegg.
Here.
Pearson. Here. Davis. Here. Smedley. Here. Saleen.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So as we begin this meeting, let us pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 6, comments to the board by citizens registered to speak to the board.
We have none.
Any comments from the board members? Okay, moving on to agenda item 7, the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First off, I want to offer special thanks to our custodial and maintenance staff for their work this summer. We've, especially at the junior high and the high school, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, but both of those sites have been construction zones, and Mr. Thompson has worked very hard to try to provide as much cleaning as is possible. It's been a huge challenge in parts of the high school, and I know we have custodians that have worked on floors and then had to work on them again and some things like that because of the nature of it. And then especially in the junior high, we've had the air conditioning off for a lot of the summer. And so they've been working, obviously, under very trying conditions, and we appreciate all the work they've done. Online enrollment is ongoing, and we encourage all parents to complete the process as soon as possible. We've been working through a few bugs that were expected with the transition to Infinite Campus, but the Infinite Campus people, their support's been very appreciated. I think we've had good support from them. We also, I talked to Mr. Benson right before the meeting. We've got probably around 1,200 or 1,300, is that right, Dee, that have yet to enroll based on what our numbers were last year and what we expect them to be this year. And so parents really need to get their child enrolled because there's a lot more to it than just walking into school the first day and stopping at the office to get your paperwork done. New teacher orientation is this Thursday at the high school cafeteria at 8 a.m. I'll welcome our new teachers, and all the board members are invited to attend as well. Any board members that would like a tour of the district, we can do that immediately following my remarks. We have done that in the past. Obviously, we will be, if the board members show up, we will be at the high school, which is the most pressing construction zone anyway, so we can certainly knock that out very quickly. Also that day, I'll be joining Dr. Doug Major from Meridian Technology Center and Dr. Ken Smith from Langston University at the Guthrie Chamber of Commerce State of the Schools Luncheon, and it will be held at the Meridian Technology Center South Campus here on Division on Thursday at 11:30 a.m. This is a new thing that the Chamber has started. They are doing that as intentionally to highlight education and provide the community an update. Obviously look forward to trying to make this an annual event. And any board members, if you would like to attend, I think you may have seen an email from me this morning. If you'd like to attend, the district will make arrangements for you. And I know Janae's already indicated she would like to. Anyone else, please let me know, and we'll make sure that we make arrangements for it. The all-school convocation is Monday, August 15th, beginning at 8 a.m. in the junior high auditorium. We will gather again as a group. Last year, I believe we had a virtual option where we are not doing that this year. It will be, we will all be together, and look forward to that. It's always a good pep rally for our staff and a chance to meet our new teachers, along with getting everyone else back together again, and kind of a little bit of a reunion. Reminder that we've scheduled a special board meeting for Tuesday, August 16th at 7:30 a.m. I'm sorry, August 16th, 7:30 a.m. to handle any last-minute personnel issues, consider the negotiated agreement, and I'm also expecting to have our construction management contract with Centennial Construction for Cotterell Elementary on the agenda. I think we have finally gotten to a point that I can bring that to the board for your approval. And some other things that are at different sites. Elementary Meet the Teacher will be Tuesday the 16th from 3 until 6. Guest Meet the Teacher is Tuesday the 16th from 4 to 7. Is that correct, Susan? Okay. Junior high open house also on Tuesday from 4 to 7. High school freshman orientation is Tuesday, August 16th from 6:30 to 8. And again, the first day of school, because we really are going to do this, is Thursday, August 18th. Reminder to the board members, and I know there was a little bit of discussion before the meeting, the OSSBA Costa Conference is scheduled for August 25th through the 28th in Oklahoma City. We, at this time, have 2 board members that are registered to attend. You might review, if you've got any questions, review with Sam your points, and if you need any. And that always provides a lot of learning opportunities, and you can get points that you may need for specific areas, but you can also find things that maybe interest you as well. So an update on high school and junior high construction. We continue at the junior high to work on windows. We have almost all of the windows installed that we have on site. There are some windows that were measured incorrectly by the subcontractor, and those are on order, but they're going to get in what we have. And then a reminder for that building that throughout the year, the piping is all done for the new HVAC system, but throughout the year, they will be going into specific classrooms and replacing the individual units that are in those rooms. And so that will be a situation where we potentially displace a class for one day and go through there. But we will be awaiting those units. They are on order, and those are in hot commodity right now, and so we're waiting on receipt of them. At the high school, the project today was a critical day for the project at the high school. And the concrete was poured successfully, and we have made good strides. I don't want to lead anyone astray. That building will be a construction zone the entire year, or the better part of it, because of the restroom renovations. What it will look like when we open is the area around the gym lobby will have it'll have concrete flooring. It will have a ceiling grid in it. It will have sheetrock. It may, but it will be in various stages of finished. And we knew some of this going in, but getting that concrete poured today was a big step in getting. And the electricians are in there working to prepare. They're going to do some work, and then they've got to get the ceiling grid in. We've been meeting. We've had the city of Guthrie on site as well to inspect it, to make sure that we're all on the same page, so that there's no surprises, and we can open school. But then they will move around to each restrooms within the building, close those off, work on those, and then as they make their way through the building. But we will be able to start school on time, and it will just be kind of a dusty mess for a while, but we know that, and we're going to work through it for the end result, which we all know will be a much improved restrooms for that building. The last thing on my agenda for my comments, and I spoke with the board members in committees, but I wanted to highlight again, I think we all know our community is changing, but it was certainly, that notion was certainly reinforced when we received the information from our county assessor that our property values in our district had grown by 9.1% over last year. That is the largest growth I have ever been a part of in the school district. And it's a sign that there's a lot of residential activity going on. We know that, and we also know that the reason I've been kind of asking Dee so much about enrollment is we know that residential activity will come with students that our district will be expected to serve. The other good things about this is that it lessens our reliance on state aid, which we know in times of low performance of the state economy and the potential for revenue failures from that state aid, we become more insulated every year from those losses. And it also increases our bonding capacity, and it has helped us. And hopefully, the way things look right now, I think we're going to be able to potentially have the discussion of starting construction at Cotterell this spring, and that's why getting the Centennial contract approved by the board and getting this thing moving forward will be able to become a reality sooner than what I was afraid it might be. And remember, we had scaled that back because of the rise in interest rates, but now we've kind of gotten a reprieve because of the higher property values. So all good stuff. So that's my report.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Simpson. Okay, next up is agenda item 8, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yeah.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 9, minutes of the regular meeting held on July 11th, 2022. Do we have a motion to approve?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the meeting held July 11th of 2022.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Abstain.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
6 ayes, 1 abstention.
Okay, agenda item 10 is the business agenda, so 10A, recommendation, consideration, action to calculate the 2022 to 2023 school year by instructional hours.
We have done this for a long time. One thing on the memo, I think there's a typo. It should say 2022-2023. It says 2012. But this is an item that gives us flexibility with. We're still going to. We've still arranged our calendar based on days, but in the event that we have bad weather or we've been in a situation where flooding has kept us from having school. It gives us more flexibility to operate by converting, and so that's why we bring this to you every year.
Mr. President, I move that we calculate the 2022-23 school year by instructional hours.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10B, recommendation, consideration, action upon authorizing Ms. Jana Wanzer as authorized representative for the Child Nutrition Program.
It's an annual item that we bring as the board is required to take action to name a person as our authorized representative, and it's our recommendation that we appoint Jana Wanzer once again.
Mr. President, I move that we appoint Jana Wanzer as the authorized representative for the Child Nutrition Program.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10C, recommendation, consideration, action upon a 10-cent increase for all paid student breakfast and lunch meals.
Just a reminder to the board members, and I will do probably a press release very soon to remind parents and families that we are departing from the moratorium on charging for meals in the cafeteria for students. And so, with that, we have to revisit our pricing, and we are required by law from the USDA to raise this to the amounts that we have recommended to the board. But we also, one of the reasons I have delayed making the reminder announcement with parents that we are going to begin charging is we were trying to work through some things with Infant Campus to make sure that the application was available as they do their online enrollment. And so we got there late last week, and so we'll probably do an announcement very soon about that. But that's why we are having to revisit this, is because we will begin charging for students that do not qualify for free and reduced lunch.
Mr. President, I move that we increase all paid student breakfast and lunch meals by 10 cents.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10D, recommendation, consideration, action upon activity fund handbook for 2022 to 2023.
Page 63 in your packet has, we brought this to you last month, but we pulled it because we had a couple of additional changes that we wanted to make. But it's in pages 63 to, I believe, 100. Recommend approval.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the activity fund handbook for 2022-2023.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10E, recommendation, consideration, action upon agreement with the Board of County Commissioners of Logan County for school resource officer provided by Logan County Sheriff Office for 2022 to 2023.
This agreement that we bring to you is for the SRO that's at Charter Oak. It did not go up from last year. There are some things that Sheriff Devereaux told me they are working through on their end from a budgetary standpoint, but he assured me that with a 60-day out clause that's in here, they could meet that if there was a problem, but he did not anticipate one, and I told him it was later on that day that we got the NAV information, and which is a big part of his funding as well. I told him I think he's probably going to be okay. So, recommend approval of this agreement.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the agreement with the Board of County Commissioners of Logan County for school resource officer provided by Logan County Sheriff's Office for 2022-2023.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10F, recommendation, consideration, action upon agreement with the City of Guthrie for school resource officers provided by Guthrie Police Department for 2022 to 2023.
This item will cover the school resource officers at the high school, the junior high, and the upper elementary, and the amount is figured on the cost of 2 entry-level police officers. We get 3 for what we're paying for, but that's 2 entry-level police officers. Now, we use that because if we did not have a school resource officer program, and that's figured over a period of 9 months, not 12. But if we did not have a school resource program, while we have more senior officers, they would bump out some of the entry-level people. So that's why we pay that amount. Now, this is a $9,100 and some change increase. Some of that is through conversations I had with our city manager from last year, because there was a big jump last year and we did not budget for that. But knowing that going into this year that we had to budget for that, we have prepared for it, and we were prepared for this one. So, recommend approval and look forward to working with them.
Mr. President, I move to approve the agreement with the City of Guthrie for the school resource officers provided by the Guthrie Police Department for 2022-23.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Gerard,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Clegg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Silly,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10G, recommendation, consideration, action upon agreement with Waterford Reading Academy.
This, we entered into a relationship with Waterford last year as a method to increase our reading level of our early childhood students, and this started as elementary only, and then we've scaled it back somewhat to only include K through 2. And the goal is to help us with learning loss that was promoted by COVID. So recommend approval of this agreement, which is being paid for out of ESSER 3 funds.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the agreement with Waterford Reading Academy.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Clegg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Silly,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10H, recommendation, consideration, action to approve a lease agreement with Stanley Systems for district copiers.
We brought this to you in the form of a bid acceptance 2 months ago, I believe. And as we got the agreement from the winning company that provides the copiers, we went through several different versions of this because of recommendations from our attorney as they reviewed the agreement, and we finally, this is what we finally landed on, and so that's why I bring this to you tonight for your approval.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the lease agreement with Stanley Systems for district copiers.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Clegg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Silly,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10I, recommendation, consideration, action upon agreement with Evans Sport LLC for broadcasting and streaming rights for 2022 to 2023.
We started this last year as out of necessity from legislation that assures that Guthrie Sports page or Guthrie News page can cover and stream our events on the road. Without this agreement, the host school could deny that, but with the agreement, they have to allow us to stream our events that are on the road. So recommend approval.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the agreement with Evans Sports LLC for broadcasting and streaming rights for 2022 and 2023.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Clegg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Silly,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10J, recommendation, consideration, action upon agreement with McMahon for file wave.
This product will allow our technology staff to work remotely on we've added a whole lot of devices through the years, and this will give us more bang for our buck with our staff and allow them to be in multiple places without having to actually travel there to work on those machines. And a lot of this is Dee, correct me if I'm wrong, it's iPads and Chromebooks, I believe, that are.
That's a large percentage.
Yeah, and so this allows us to really hedge our staff and cut down on labor costs, and not grow the labor costs exponentially with the growth of the number of machines.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the agreement with the MacMan for file waive.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Sully.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10K, recommendation, consideration, action upon revision to District Policy C-1A, procurement.
Okay, this starts the odyssey of policies, and it's that time of year. But I think all of these that you have that are revisions, the majority of them are either through a lot of discussion with staff, or they were necessitated by changes with legislation. And I think the commentaries really, I tried to make sure that I referred back to the piece of legislation if it necessitated that. But this first one, some of this is cleanup because the law changed last year, and then we had a little bit clearer on subcontractors and what that means with this. And so recommend approval.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the revision of District Policy C-1A procurement.
Second.
And motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Sully.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10L, recommendation, consideration, and action upon revision to District Policy D-13A, sick leave bank for certified personnel.
And I'll discuss L and M both together because they're very similar with the policy. One is for certified, one is support. We worked with our attorneys to try to have a working sick leave bank that has some parameters to it that were lacking. And then some of this was in practice but not in policy. And it's better to have this in policy. But there was no limit on the number of days that you could have, that you could take from the sick leave bank. And so we decided that that needed to be put in place. And then after, if you have exhausted those, you can withdraw from the sick leave bank. And the way a sick leave bank works with our district is you have, when you enroll, you take, how many days is it, Doug? 2? 1. 1 day, and it goes into a bank where if someone needs those days because of an extraordinary illness that's also a member and has put into that bank, they can then apply for that, and a committee will hear their application. And so we wanted to give some parameters and kind of shore up some things with that, and that was the goal of both policies.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the revision to District Policy 413A, sick leave bank, certified personnel.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Sully.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10M, recommendation, consideration, action upon revision to District Policy D-13B, sick leave bank for support personnel.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the revision to District Policy D-13B, sick leave bank, support personnel.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Clyde.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10N, recommendation, consideration, action upon revision to District Policy D15, Military and Employee Association Leave.
This, there was a bill passed, Senate Bill 1579, in the last legislative session that clarified how districts were to handle if an employee were to be elected, let's say, to the OBA, to a role, a job there where they would request leave. And by law, you have to hold their spot, but there were some unclear things in that. And so then, as that bill was passed, we would hold their spot. They would not get a step, and then they could come back whenever they left that job. But there were some things that were added, some conditions that were added to that. And so when looking at the policy manual and how to handle this, where does it go? Is it a standalone policy, or is it something? The closest thing we had to that was military leave. And so that's why we added that to the military leave policy in order to give it, and that way it is a revision. It's not a new policy, but this is all the language came from our attorneys, and it fits in well with that policy.
It gives us one less policy to have to review again in a couple of years.
Correct. That might have been part of it as well.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the revision to District Policy D15, Military and Employee Association Leave.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Clyde.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10O, recommendation, consideration, action upon revision to District Policy E22, student promotion and retention and student pass or failure of a course.
This deals largely with mid-year promotions and from the students that were retained by the RSA plan. And our attorneys went through, along with guidance from the Office of Educational Equality, to recommend these revisions. It kind of clears up some stuff and gives it a little bit more clarity anyway.
Mr. President, go ahead.
I move that we approve the revision to District Policy E22, student promotion and retention and student pass fail of a course.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Clyde.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10P, recommendation, consideration, and action upon revision to District Policy E41, acceptable use of internet and electronic and digital communications devices.
This is an example of one thing leading to another. As the item you're going to consider for E42, revision of that policy, as that one came in, it caused me to also look over E41 and realized how woefully out of date this policy was. Somewhere in here, I think it still talks about MySpace. And obviously, being a policy regarding technology, what's acceptable use for our students and staff, it's going to be probably impossible to keep it 100% up to date, but it had been quite a while since, in fact, 2 years before my arrival in the district, since it had been revised. I'm not sure how we missed that one, or but anyway, I reached out to our attorneys and got their most recent acceptable use policy, and Dee and I both reviewed it, and so it's complete retool of our acceptable use policy, and provides us with the most recent that our attorneys have on their books, and it takes MySpace out of it. Is MySpace still a thing? I don't even know. But anyway, it does update it and gives it a little bit more recent look to it.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the revision to District Policy E41, acceptable use of internet and electronic and digital communication devices.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other board discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10Q, recommendation, consideration, action upon revision to District Policy E42, Library Media Center Selection Policy.
Senate or House Bill 3092 was passed in the legislative session and gave a lot of clarity and requirements for libraries for how they are to select their materials, and then it also changes the procedures for review that was necessitated by the legislation as well. So this is the recommendation from our attorneys.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the revision to District Policy E42, Library Media Center Selection Policy.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other board discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 10R, recommendation, consideration, action upon revision to District Policy E46, Dyslexia and Dysgraphia Awareness Program? Did I pronounce that right?
You did fine. Dysgraphia is, well, I had to Google it again because I looked at it when I was working on this. Difficulty with spelling and poor handwriting and trouble putting thoughts on paper. They've added this to the dyslexia awareness as something to try and diagnose. And so effective in the 2023-2024 school year, we've got to make sure that we are screening for that as well. And so we added that to the existing policy.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the revision to District Policy E46, Dyslexia, Dysgraphia Awareness Program.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second on the, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 10S, recommendation, consideration, action upon revision to District Policy F5, student transfers.
We're going to amend this policy one more time, and then hopefully we're not going to need to for a while. But part of this was clarifying where the application is, and then it just tried to clear up some things that were questionable and help parents understand the process and procedure. And we have been in the process of collecting those transfer requests, but we are not going to process any. This is not really related to the policy, other than this is our process that we're doing. But we're not going to approve any of them until after the first full week of school, so that you have the 2 days and then the week, and then we will notify them if they have been approved or denied based on what our true enrollment is. Because as we talked about earlier, we still have probably 1,300 kids hanging out there that we don't have enrolled, and we will not have them all enrolled when we start school. So, and I've talked to some parents. Samantha's talked to some parents. I've explained that our first obligation is to the students that live within our district and our taxpayers that are here, and then we want to accommodate as many as possible going forward.
Mr.
Mr. President, I move we approve the revision to district policy F5, student transfers.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Silly.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 10T, recommendation, consideration, and action upon revision to district policy F15, suicide awareness, training, and prevention.
Okay, the only thing we're modifying here is we're moving this from F50 to F15, and it just fits in the policy manual better there with what's around it. And so that's really all we're modifying, but I wanted to do that because there was not an F15, and I looked through there and thought, that's where this really needs to go.
You're looking for something to change.
Good.
You want to use up all the alphabet. You had to go all the way to Z.
Motion to approve the revision to district policy F15, suicide awareness, training, and prevention.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Silly.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 10U, presentation of proposed new district policy D52, use of multiple occupancy restrooms and changing areas.
Well, the next few policies will give me flashbacks and nightmares of the last legislative session, but majority of this was necessitated by legislation that puts into policy things that we were already practicing anyway, but it gives that further strength. There's no action on these items, but we do need to offer them for a first review. And if the board members have any questions of me, certainly be glad to take those at this time. Especially on the next one's not this one.
Good. So no action on these, so we just work our way through them. Any discussion or questions on that? Okay. Agenda item 10U, presentation of proposed new district policy D52. Nope, wrong one. Repeating myself.
Yeah.
10.
Been there.
10V, presentation of proposed new district policy E41B, Internet and Technology Safety.
This was the other policy that took me to the accepted use and said we have to do this. We are required to have this policy based on the legislation, and we are now required to file any library that uses public funds for its use, like Guthrie Public Library, it's my understanding, is also included in this, so it's not just school libraries. You've got to now file reports with is this Attorney General's office, or I can't remember what's in here, but and it's essentially assuring that you have a content filtering system for your technology. And obviously, we have to anyway, but this is, I always know that a bill came from somewhere, and I'm not sure where this one came from, because this is, in my eyes, this was a solution looking for a problem, but I'm sure somewhere there was an issue there with it. But we have, obviously we have content filtering on all of our technology devices, that especially the ones that have that students or staff, either one, would have access to.
So how do we define inappropriate? I mean, they're generally accepted, I think, terms, but I'm curious. I mean, how do we define? I mean,
I'm sure if it comes to us, we're going to have to figure it out. And I think that's a great question.
I mean, is our content filtering? I mean, I'm sure do we manually load terms, phrases, words, or is it something? Is it just embedded in the technology we purchase? And it's kind of a out-of-the-box custom.
Our technology filter has come from Guthrie Technologies for several years, and it's built into our firewall. So there's certain categories that they block, and then we add websites to it on a constant basis when we find something that's questionable.
Yeah, I just look, it says, shall be defined in accordance with the Child's Internet Protection Act, Oklahoma law. So the technology we're purchasing kind of adheres to that standard, I guess.
Yeah, and we were required to have that already.
Yeah.
So that's my point of this is a solution in search of a problem, because there were multiple requirements that we have to have that in place before we can ever get E-rate money or anything like that. Anyway, but.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, agenda item 10W, a presentation of proposed new district policy F14, student mental health crisis protocol.
This item, for the most part, we already have this in place with different providers, but it is putting in policy what our practice has been. And so, but that when we looked at this as a staff, I mean, it was kind of like we're already doing this. But that's okay. We're required to do it, and we already were anyway. So doesn't raise us any concern for us of any changes that we were already doing.
Any discussion? Okay. Agenda item 10X, presentation of proposed new district policy F52, mental health accommodations.
This, again, I'm not really sure where this one came from, but it does not require, but it allows a process for parents to disclose mental issues that their child has to the district. Again, it doesn't require it, but it provides a procedure with which to disclose it. And a lot of times this will come up in an IEP meeting anyway, or a 504 meeting. And so, one of the things that as I talked with other superintendents and people about, is that with the new transfer policy, early disclosure of the services needed for students that are potentially a transfer student is critical for the receiving district to be able to say whether or not they can provide that service and to understand what the associated costs would be. And so I think that was somewhat of a catalyst for producing this bill.
Okay, any other questions or discussions on 10X? Okay, moving on to agenda item 10Y, presentation of proposed new district policy F53, Save Women's Sports Act.
Okay, we started this already, even though it's not in policy, because it is law. And we are collecting affidavits every year for any student that is participating in athletics, and that's as far as it goes. But at any grade, and the parent will have to affirm that their child is competing with their birth sex, the sex that they were at birth, and we are in compliance with this. This will become part of our physical packet, and Mr. Chappell and I have worked through all of this, and you can see the affidavit that is attached, and that's the one that was recommended by our attorneys. The OSSAA provided one that was a potential one as well. We went with the one that, that our attorneys provided, and then after discussions with the OSSAA, I think they kind of liked the language we had, maybe better than what they provided as well.
So the question there, so you sign the affidavit, but then it asks if you change, what does that mean for us? So the parent's required to notify the school within 30 days of any change, but then it also states that female sports are not open to males. So I guess what happens there if a parent comes in and says, I'm giving you a 30-day notice or want to sign a different affidavit? Do we know?
They would not be allowed to compete.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you have this, you're not allowed to compete in another.
In the other sex, and the other gender. Okay, yeah.
Do they not provide a birth certificate or anything?
No, but they've had to when they enroll. Because, when you assume you've enrolled Mason Ryan, so, you have to upload those.
Well, like any sport we play, we do that every year almost, so.
Yeah, and once you get to school sports, then it's more the physical packet, and they do the physical, but this is going to be a part of it, too.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on 10Y? Okay. Agenda item 10Z, presentation of proposed new district policy F54, use of multiple occupancy restrooms and changing areas.
This Senate Bill 615 clarified the use of, some districts had employed a policy. We had not put that in place, that you could use whichever restroom you identified with. We had not put that in policy, and but this clarifies that you cannot, it's not what you identified with, it is what your actual birth sex is
So
that you are to.
What's the difference
Between
between
U
that
and
and
Z.
D52? Yeah.
That is, one of them is for students and one of them is for staff. And this one is for staff.
Okay, it just
I guess they was reading the same.
Yeah, it's exactly the
And the
same.
reason that there's two like that is, and I probably should have put these together on the agenda, but we have two separate areas in the policy manual. One for students and one for staff for regulations. And so we have to have two separate policies.
Okay, any discussion on 10Z?
Better days are ahead, Gail.
We've reached the end of the alphabet.
Math, you're double.
Okay, agenda item 11, proposed executive session for the purpose of discussing employment of personnel, FMLA request, resignation or separation from employment, and transfer of position request. All is set out on the personnel reports. Extra duty assignments is listed for 2022 to 2023, and teacher negotiations for 2022 to 2023. Disclosure of which information would violate the confidentiality requirements of state and/or federal law, all pursuant to 25 Oklahoma Statute, Section 307, B, 1, 2, and 7. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Jordan?
Yes.
Schroeder?
Yes.
Flagg?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Smedley?
Yes.
Sully?
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
your corner, Guthrie Corner.
No, let's not do that. Okay, agenda item 11, acknowledge the board's return to open session. Only items in agenda 11 were discussed in executive session, and no votes were taken. This shall constitute the executive session minutes. So then agenda item 12, vote as set out on the personnel reports. We have a
Mr.
motion.
President, I make a motion that we approve the personnel reports.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 13, action upon recommendation of extra duty assignments as listed for 2022 to 2023.
Mr. President, I make a motion we approve the extra duty assignments as listed for 2022-2023.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 14, recommendation, consideration, action to accept any resignations offered since the posting of this agenda.
We have none.
Agenda item 15, discussion of possible action on new business not known about or could not have been reasonably foreseen at the time of the agenda posting.
We have none.
We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Gerard.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Hang out.
I think you have.